Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Danganronpa. So, took us 2 hours to go through the introductions, and apparently I could maybe talk to these people again before we go to the meeting room. So let's see what they say.
This is bad.
There was a creepy announcement saying going to the gym, and we can get like one little extra line of dialogue. Everybody seems to be very annoyed by that creepy announcement. Something as weird is going on here, right? It's not just me. This isn't everybody. Know how you feel, but we can all we can do is check it out, right? So there's an immediate split here between the 7 being shown here and the 8 including me here, and then the other 7 that have already gone to the gym. True, if we do not move forward, we learn nothing. The only choice is to push ahead. And see, I can barely even... I can't move the camera any further this way. They are just like cardboard cutouts. Frankly, this does kind of have that Paper Mario vibe. You even have the weird question mark at him. Are you okay? Is everyone okay? Alright, so in this instance, I don't think there's a way to leave without just hitting B. So we are forced here to leave. And here we can hit Y. And then that can help us remember which way to the gym it is if necessary. And then we can hold down B. And here we go. We want to try and rush as fast as possible.
Hey, come on.
God, I have no idea this Hope's Peak Academy place was going to be such a pain in my balls. It really ain't that much different from the time I spent in juvie. Hell, this place is even worse. And why isn't there anyone here? Walking through the halls, I didn't see a single person.
This is bad.
Isn't that, like, seriously not good? They're just trying to spook us. They'll take down those metal plates down later, I'm sure of it. All we can do now is hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Well, hell, it ain't like I'm scared or nothing. Let's just get this over with.
Hey, damn it.
Hey, where's whoever called us here? So this is, I guess, the entry to the gym, and it seems like it is a fairly, like, Japanese gym, and that there's a katana and, like, Buddhist statues, it looks like, over there. And certainly fancy, too.
What are you thinking?
Mondo, stop, no running. Then there's kind of flags that almost are more European.
Well then.
I too shall go. Hey, wait, don't leave me here all alone. So everybody's just moving quickly. Okay, time for some more tutorial action. The game is just going to take a break to make me tutorialize more. You can press the Y button to observe the room you're in. Observing will display what people and objects you can interact with. Sorry for the late notice. So now we can just hit Y, and we can see there's a display case. There's all kinds of trophies and plaques inside. Of course, all the students who go here are ultimate, right? So this is probably just a tiny fraction of all their awards. So if you go over here, does that change what you can observe? No, and then the real question will come down to, no, surveillance camera. I feel like we're being watched every second. I don't like it. The school has a lot of TVs. They couldn't all be for that weird school broadcast, could they? Alright, and so then that just leaves us talking to people. I suppose it is interesting that when we talk to people, it doesn't change their name to ultimate whatever. Like, a lot of other visual novels I feel like would have done that. So even in that small aspect, we have already entered a world where it's gonna benefit you probably more than you think to pay attention and remember which character is which. Where in a lot of other games you might be able to just absolutely mindly mash A through a lot of this. Total silence. For whatever reason, she's the only one managing to stay calm. Or maybe I'm just imagining that. Where are all the other students? Why are we the only ones here? Just really basic comments right now.
This is bad.
I'm totally getting a bad vibe right now. We've heard her say that same line of dialogue. This is bad. Multiple times now. Alright, so now I think we can click on the door. I feel like we couldn't have before. To the proper gym. Still filled with uneasy dread, I did what the announcement said and went to the gym. And I saw what was waiting for us there. It really does look like an entrance ceremony. But once again, an entrance ceremony for like 15 students in a giant school, which really doesn't make any sense.
Yo.
See? Told ya, it's totally normal entrance ceremony stuff. Hero was right. But in a way, that just emphasized how completely not normal all of us were.
Hey there, howdy, hello. Is everyone here? Good. Then let's get things rolling.
So, I think a significant amount of the dialogue from this character is spoken. So, that's going to help move us through the story a lot quicker. And we're going to have these animated sequences that are sort of cheaply animated, but once again it was a
Teddy bear?
PSP game originally, so it couldn't be too much animation. So Chihiro says, huh? A teddy bear.
I'm not a teddy bear.
Now, if you look at him, he does definitely have a like Two-Face vibe from DC Comics. You've got a black side with a either scarred out red eye or just an evil flaring red eye, and then teeth showing on one side, and then the other side is a white side, which also includes the nose and the belly, and that is no teeth showing. Now in Japanese visuals, white is the color of death, whereas in the West, black is the color of death. In this case, I don't think it really matters one way or the other, and I would say that the black side of this character looks much more angry and mean than the white side does.
I am Monokuma.
Monokuma.
And I am this school's headmaster.
Well, that sounds insane. This is the strangest thing I'd ever seen. Right before my eyes, it was what I was seeing was it was utterly incomprehensible.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you. I guess I don't have to read things out loud. Such a bright voice and carefree attitude was completely out of place, and all the anxiety I'd been carrying with me suddenly transformed into outright fear.
Say
What? That teddy bear can talk. Calm down. I'm sure there's just a speaker inside of it.
Hey.
I told you already.
Now.
I'm not a teddy bear. I'm Monokuma and I'm your headmaster. Once again, this is just kind of evidence that this is some either psychotic break of the main character, or we've entered a very weird world, or he's dreaming. Well, it moved. Seriously, man, calm down. It's probably just a remote control toy or something. How dare you compare me to a child's plaything? You've cut me deep. Deeper than the Mariana Trench. Let's see, now Monokuma is kind of blushing. My remote control system is so complex, even the folks at NASA can't recreate or even comprehend it. Okay. Ah, don't make me say stuff that might destroy NASA's dreams. I just couldn't bear it. He's gonna make puns. Bear, that really. You are unfortunate. Now then, moving on. We really must hurry and get started. Giving up already? No other stupid bear puns?
Now then.
Quite down, quite down. Ah, okay, so he has abandoned the gag.
Good.
Everyone stand at attention and bow, and good morning. That's what Japanese students do every morning. Good morning.
What's your problem?
You don't have to say it back.
Now then.
Now then, let's commence with the most noteworthy and memorable entrance ceremony. First, let's talk a bit about what your school life here will be like. Now, make no mistake, you few students so full of potential represent the hope of the world. And to protect such splendid hope, you all now live a communal life together solely within the confines of the school. Everyone will live in harmony together and adhere to the rules and regulations of the school. Huh? Now then, regarding the end date for this communal life, there isn't one. In other words, you'll be here until the day you die, such is the school life you've been assigned. Alright, so you've just been kidnapped, basically. What did he say? Until the day we die?
Yep.
Oh, but fear not. We have quite an abundant budget, so you won't lack for all the common conveniences.
Hold on a second.
That's the least of our worries right now. Yeah, what the hell? You're saying I have to live here forever? You're screwing with us, right? This really destroys the idea of a school, too. It's like, what's the point of being educated if you never use that education? Well, at a certain level, if you enjoy learning new things, I could see that. There certainly are plenty of college professors that enjoyed learning new things and just never really left school. But yeah, I don't think any of these people would particularly agree with that, or all of these people will agree with that. Maybe one or two of them will. You're screwing with us, right? I'm not screwing with you. I am no liar. Of that you can be 100% sure. And just for your information, you're completely cut off from the outside world. So you don't have to worry about that dirty, dirty land beyond the walls ever again. Which, who knows what is beyond the walls at this point, since there was a big metal door that wasn't there before. Like, you felt like you were asleep for just a brief amount of time, maybe an hour, but for all you know, you could have been asleep for a much longer time. Cut off. So all those metal plates all over the school, which pretty much you would have seen from the outside, they're there to keep us trapped in here. That's exactly what they're there for. No matter how much you may yell and scream for help, help will not come. So with all that in mind, feel free to live out your life here with reckless abandon.
Hey, come on.
Which, this is a terrible option, certainly, but it's actually what he's telling you to do is just everybody live in harmony till you all die of probably natural causes. That option is like 100 times better than what eventually starts happening. Come on, what the hell is this? I don't care if the school or whoever else is behind it all. This is a really bad joke.
Damn you.
Yeah. Cut this poop out. It isn't funny anymore. There is an unfortunate situation here where there is an anime that kind of recently came out as of this recording, where it is a school full of super talented students who have all been brought to that school and told that they were going to be trained to defeat a great evil. And it then turns out, no, they are just superhuman characters that the government's terrified of, so they've snuck in a spy to kill them all one by one. And you potentially have the exact same scenario here, where you have 15 ultimate students that might be just too much competition or scare too many other people in the rest of the world, so they've been locked away.
Unbelievable.
You keep up saying this is a lie or a joke, a bunch of skeptics, all of you.
What are you gonna do?
But I guess you can't help it, huh? You all grew up in an age when you were taught to doubt your neighbor. Well, you'll have plenty of time to find out whether or not what I say is true. And when that time comes, you'll see with your own eyeballs that I speak the undeniable truth.
Most unfortunate.
Unfortunately, he has stopped talking at this point. Having to live here forever would be quite the problem.
What's this?
Come now, what's the matter with all of you? You decided of your own free will to attend Hope's Peak Academy, didn't you? Well, how would he be certain of that? And frankly, attending the school did not in anyone's mind mean living there for the rest of your life. I would find it incredibly annoying to have to live in a high school for the rest of my life. But on the other hand, that would be only in the case in which I actually had to do high school things. Living in a high school building for the rest of my life wouldn't be particularly that bad. It's a nice big place, is maybe lacking on accommodations, and might not be the floors would probably be one of the biggest issues. Just hard floors all over the place. You'd not want to get some carpets and put it down, decorate things a little bit better. But yeah, that would be about the only real issue. Living in a giant school might be a little creepy, but you'd get used to it. I'd probably prefer, if I was going to live in a building you're not supposed to live in, though, I'd probably pick, I could think maybe like a hydropower station. The Sistine Chapel. A mall. An arcade. Arcade would be good. Yep. For the most part, buildings are buildings, though, so it doesn't really matter. Now, before the entrance ceremony is even finished, you've already decided you want to leave.
Hey,
Oh, but I guess I did forget to mention one thing. There is one way for you to leave the school. Really?
Actually,
As headmaster, I've crafted a special clause for those of you who would like to leave. So, the offer here has been to live in harmony, peace and harmony, with the other students until you die, or do this special clause. So, what's the special clause? This is the hard sell where I'm going to give you a bad option, and then I'm going to give you a even worse option, but make it seem like the worse option is the better option. I call it the graduation clause.
now then.
Now let me tell you about this fun little rule. As I mentioned, in order to maintain an environment of harmony here, we rely on a communal lifestyle. And if someone were to disrupt that harmony, they and they alone would be allowed to leave the school. That, my students, is the graduation clause.
What?
What do you mean by disrupt the harmony? Phew. Well, if one person were to murder another. Murder? So, here's your moral quandary, and it's an easy moral decision, frankly, but these are high school students, and we wouldn't have a game if they all immediately realized this. Would you be willing to spend the rest of your life in harmony, basically, but isolated from the rest of the world to avoid murdering another person? Or is your future in your life, in your mind, so valuable that you'd be willing to steal the future of someone else's life for your own? And obviously the solution there, and almost everyone would agree, is that everybody should just live in harmony and forget about the murder idea right here and now.
Yes, indeed.
Stabbing, strangling, bludgeoning, crushing, hacking, drowning, igniting. How you do it doesn't matter. You must kill someone if you want to leave. It's as simple as that. The rest is up to you. Give it your all to achieve the best outcome in the worst way possible. A chill shot down my spine. You must kill someone if you want to leave. As soon as I heard those words, my blood went cold. Phew. I bet that got your brain juices flowing. Of course, the problem here is me being the ultimate lucky student, either who was just brought in by lottery, puts me in the crosshairs to be potentially the first one killed, because everybody else is ultimate something else, and could use those skills to kill me way better, way easier. Let's see, beats the heck out of a human catching a salmon, right? Huh? I feel like that is another Japanese reference, as maybe there is a fishing test or something where you have to catch a salmon. Like I said before, you guys are the hope of the world, but you know, taking that hope and seeing it get murdered creates a darkened shadow of despair.
Extreme!
And I just find that so darn exciting.
What the hell?
What the hell are you talking about? To kill each other, it's
Huh?
to kill each other is to kill each other. I'm sure there's a dictionary here somewhere if you need it.
What are you saying?
We know what it means, that's not the problem. Why do we have to kill each other?
Say what?
Yeah, stop blabbering on with all this nonsense. Just let us go home already. Question mark.
Blabbering? What do you mean blabbering? Stop blabbering on about blabbering on!
So we can see his eye is glowing red. And the custom zoom there. You guys just don't get it, do you? Let's go, let's go. You keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over. Listen, from this moment on, this school is your home, your life, your world. Got it? And you can kill as much as you want to kill. So go ahead, go on a killing spree. Alright, come on, how long are you gonna keep this up? It'd be funny if it turned out each of these students was like tested and showed signs of being like a psychopath, and they just pre-crimed it and said, well, each of these people is going to probably kill somebody by in their lifetime, so we might as well lock them up here and make them fight this game. But this hardly feels like justice, to be locked into a school and have each other kill each other. If anything, it feels like some twisted game that Monokuma wants to run without getting any blood on his own hands, as in the way he thinks, I imagine. Eh?
You know?
You got us, okay. You scared the hell out of us, so you can go ahead and reveal the trick now. Reveal the trick?
I'm right?
Monokuma comes off as sometimes very ignorant, often very angry, and definitely evil. Perhaps also naive on to the value of life in general. Yeah, because I mean, you know, this is all some kind of trick and all, right? So, like...
Shit.
Dude, shut the hell up and get out of my way. Shoving Hero aside, Mondo placed himself in front of Monokuma, his voice rumbling like thunder. Yeah, it would make a lot of sense that the biker gang might very quickly get mad and just attack Monokuma.
You're fucking dead.
Listen up, a-hole. This poop's gone way too far. What the hell kind of joke is this?
What's the
I'm
matter?
trying to stop. I'm trying not to cuss so I don't get too demonetized. Joke? What, you mean like your hair?
You son of a bitch.
Mondo rolled out, and then there was a sudden boom. It was the sound of the floorboards as he kicked off and launched himself into the air. He flew at Monokuma, fast and straight as a bullet. He locked on his target. And here we have another custom art, which is...
Piece of shit. I don't
I mean-
know if you're a toy or a stuffed animal or whatever the hell.
This art style is almost like marker-esque in the way it's drawn. Doesn't look awful, but it also doesn't quite look professional either. But yeah, almost all visual novels are under budgeted, so I wouldn't be surprised if these one-off images are not, they don't spend a lot of time animating them, which then gets to a catch-22 of why spend the extra effort to have these one-off animations if you're not going to do them well. And that's probably the answer to that, is because if they didn't have these one-off animations, we would have far too many minutes in which the scenery and the imagery doesn't really change.
Either way, I'm gonna rip you to fucking shreds.
What? Violence against the headmaster is in violation of school regulations.
Shut the fuck up. Let me out of here, I swear to Christ.
Beep, beep, beep.
Hey, damn it.
What, no smartass comeback this time?
Piece of shit.
Stop that goddamn beeping and say something.
Watch out!
Watch out, get rid of it.
Huh?
Huh? Hurry up and throw it. I don't know if her ferocity stunned him into silence or what, but without a word he did as he was told. He threw Monokuma, and as soon as he did... The hell?
What the?
That sure was poop, wasn't a joke. It blew the hell up. There was a painful ringing in my ears and I could smell gunpowder. Explosions might happen all the time in movies or whatever, but when it's in real life, I'd never seen anything like it. But you know, that means the teddy bear's been destroyed, right? Oh, this means the teddy bear's been destroyed, right? I told you, I'm not a teddy bear. I'm Monokuma. And he just is popping up out of the floor. Oh, there's another one.
Damn
You son
you.
of... B, you seriously tried to kill me just now.
Of course.
Well, I was serious about trying to kill you. You did violate one of the school's regulations after all. I'll let you off with a warning this time, but you better be careful from now on. Any naughty boy or girl who violates my rules won't get off with just a little swat on the butt.
This is bad.
Hey, so does that mean like there's a bunch of more of you around somewhere?
Yep.
Suppose it is worth mentioning that from what I've seen, hitting children on the butt is not particularly done in Japan. There's a lot more slapping of the face by slightly abusive or really abusive parents. Schools themselves, I don't think they've ever really engaged in major corporal punishments of that kind. There might be some stress positions of holding like full water buckets or something with a book on your head or something like that, which also actually constitutes torture, but yeah, there's little of that. Partially a lot of that is because Japanese students just obey rules way better, and that there aren't that many problem Japanese students, and it's very easy. I think it's a lot easier to expel problem students anyways, and also the Japanese are, if there are gonna be abusive teachers, they're not gonna hit the students as much as they're going to verbally abuse them and and drive them to quit, commit suicide, or cry. Definitely they don't have bears that blow up. Monokumas have been placed throughout the school, yes. Plus, don't forget the surveillance cameras installed everywhere. If you're caught breaking any rules, well, you all just saw what happened, right? Poohoo. I'm not going to read that word anymore because I cannot pronounce it. Poohoo. And I won't be so forgiving with my punishment next time. So don't let it happen again. That's not even punishment. That's just wrong.
Well,
Now then, lastly, to commensurate your joyous entry into our school, I have a little something for you. The official student handbook. Pretty cute. Pretty cool. Huh? As you can see, it's fully digital, so naturally we call it the e-handbook. And see, it's jumping back to me for just to say I'm not saying anything. That's kind of a waste of text. Ahem. Yes, well, moving on. This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start it up, it will display your name, which that might be helpful considering we know that at least one of these people is not telling us the real name. I wouldn't be surprised if more people are not telling us their real name. And I suppose it couldn't be much of a lie if you started one up and it said the name that you were using as an alias, but it turned out that the name you thought you had or the name you were using as an alias isn't actually your name. Yeah, that wouldn't make the most sense. Always make sure you have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that. Also, it's completely waterproof. Splash it, wash it, drown it. It'll keep on ticking. And thanks to space age design, it can withstand the impact force of 10 tons. Very resistant. Okay. It contains all of our school regulations, so make sure you review them thoroughly. Now, why make it so break-proof? Is there something in it that you might want to get rid of? Some, like, incriminating evidence? We'll have to think about that later.
you guys.
You'll hear me say this a lot, but any violation of the rules will not be tolerated. Rules restrict, yes, but they also protect. Society, for example, would be utter chaos without laws.
Yes, indeed.
The same thing applies here, which is why it's crucial we have a strict punishment in place for violators. Okay, well, that brings our entrance ceremony to a close. Please enjoy your abundantly dreary school life, and see ya. And with that, he was gone, leaving us in a state of shock. I'm not really reading all of these words correctly, but that's how most people read, is that they think they get it word for word, but usually they're reading faster than that, and they're just kind of skimming it, even if they are not trying to skim it. And I guess I am slightly a bit more of a speed reader than I probably should be. So guys, how would you define what we just experienced? Why? I don't understand any of this. We have to live here forever or kill? What just happened?
Calm down.
Everyone, we just need to calm down. First, let's take a second to summarize everything we just heard. Now, this is very common in Japanese stories in general, but I would also say in visual novels, the stretching of things and adding more lines of dialogue. There's so many visual novels that like sell themselves on the fact that they have like 30,000 or 100,000 words on it, and that's not really a selling point to the Western audience, the average gamer. in the West who probably doesn't want to play any kind of visual novel, but if they were going to even start to stick a toe into that water like I am doing now, you would want it to be as concise and precise in its speech and not just repetitive and meanders. Based on what Monokuma said, we essentially have two choices. Choice number one is that we stay here living a communal life together until the day we die. There's 15 students. They seem to be mostly split between male and female, but the way that breaks down, it's highly unlikely that each one of them would find potentially a mate at some point and have kids. And I don't know if there's any real reason why you would want to do that trapped in a school. So if this was a scenario that, like, say there was a nuclear war that happened outside and Monokuma was trying to have them all live together and repopulate the earth, that really wouldn't work with 15 people and they're high school kids, so they are more likely to kill each other than decide to settle down when their life hasn't even started. On the other hand, I could also see the perspective of Japanese people, and these people in particular, going, well, the pressure's off now. I've been the ultimate this and that, so now I don't have to struggle or try anything, although arguably it seems like every ultimate student was a prodigy and didn't really have to struggle to get where they were, and they may very well have not had to really struggle much in their lives at all, so them retiring in high school is probably not something that they would agree to. And the other choice is, we want to get out of here alive, we have to kill someone, right? By killing someone, that's... We were abducted out of nowhere and stuffed into this place meant to look like a school. Now we're supposed to start killing each other? This is just... What is this? He is overreacting quite a lot.
Ridiculous.
A lie is what it is. All this ridiculous things we've heard. This all has to be fake. Right now, it doesn't really matter if it's real or fake. What matters is there anyone here who's seriously considering all this? To that, nobody had a response. Keeping quiet myself, I looked around at the others. Here we have another custom image. We can see now everybody is standing pretty far apart from each other, and they seem to be very cautious of that, because just this suggestion alone then opens the door to one of them taking Monokuma up on his offer and potentially killing someone. Of course, if it was as simple as you just have to kill someone, then the entire group could devolve into a fight right now, and half of them could kill the other half, and then as the rules have been stated so far, they would be allowed to leave. So obviously the rules are going to change. Let's see what the breakdown on male to female really is here. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 males, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 females. So yeah, it's a pretty even split, which in most visual novels, if it was a romance visual novel, there would be one male and then the rest of the characters would be female pretty much. Or if it were more of an action story they were telling, you might have very few females and just a whole bunch of males, like Dragon Ball Z is kind of a great example of that. Although Dragon Ball Z does have a decent number of females in it, they're just not as many. They all stared at one of each other, trying to gauge each other's thought. I could almost taste the hostility, and that's when it hit me. I realized the true terror hidden within the rules Monokuma had laid out. You must kill someone if you want to leave. Those words had planted vicious thoughts deep within each of us. Each of us became suspicious of everyone else. We were forced to wonder, is somebody going to betray us? So, here's how you solve this problem real fast. There is no trust and confidence on amongst these strangers, which is believable. So, you guys these people would just need to establish some rules. Simple rule 1. No one ever goes anywhere alone ever. In fact, everybody stays as a group always. Like, even groups of 3 or 4 is too much of a risk, because 3 people might agree to kill one person. The only safe way to do this is to have everybody in the same room, always. Bathrooms, I guess you split between the females and the males, and then like the males stand outside the ladies' bathroom as they use it, things like that. But slowly over time, as you're accepting living in this school forever, you slowly have like votes of confidence in the sense of secret ballots, and then you just establish a kind of democracy amongst a small group. And once the group says, I 100% trust that none of these other people will kill me, at that point then you can start breaking up, and that probably would take several months, working together and working to survive. And that's how my new school life began. This school, which had come out of nowhere to raise my hopes so high. It's not a school of hope. It's a school of despair. And see, once again, this is just like a really, really long prologue being done. Even they are showing it. Prologue, welcome to despair, the end. There are 15 surviving students, which honestly, I kind of don't think that that's actually accurate. But I don't want to spoil anything. And so now we're getting the trailer again. Which certainly we will now know more. This very much feels like they were trying to make this like an anime TV series. Although, in fairness, this was like 2.5 hours minimum of content just to get through the prologue, so it plays more like a collection of anime movies. But then there's not enough animation here. We now know these characters, but this trailers aren't really revealing too much different. And I imagine if we were to watch this same intro fairly often, and we might see new bits of information every time, but then it would also be fairly annoying to have to go through the entirety of the entirety of the game, with every section having another intro. What do they call those? They call those OPs. You got an item. You receive the school crest pendant. And that is very pixely, certainly. Feels a lot like No More Heroes, where there were definitely a lot of like 8-bit items and things you could see and collect that did not fit with the rest of the graphics in No More Heroes, but No More Heroes was a weird enough game that you really wouldn't question it. I think the same is the case here. Do I want to save my data? Sure. So It took 3 save spots to get to the prologue. And I think we'll be hearing this background music quite a lot. You must kill someone if you want to leave. My mind froze and my breath caught in my throat as I thought about that. I could feel a paralyzing fear slowly making its way through my body, dominating every last nerve. The air hung heavy on me, pressing down like a weight around my neck. The other things you could do certainly is, if there are weapons anywhere, locking up all those weapons and getting rid of them, removing temptation effectively to murder people. But yeah, it's frankly for normal people very, very hard to be cold and calculated and plot a murder. Most murders are done in at least some level of either inebriation or aggravation or psychosis. So if there's alcohol, get rid of that. If there's any kind of drugs, get rid of those. And try to not have fights as much as possible. It took everything I had to endure that wait. Chapter 1, to survive daily life. See, our character, he has this kind of symbol on the back of his hoodie. But for as heavy as the air felt, all it took to pierce it was her sharp words. So, here we have Kyoko Kirigiri. So, what are you gonna do now?
Hey.
Just stand around and glaring at each other? Her pointed comment was directed at everyone in the room. It helped pull us back to reality. Right, she's right.
Listen to me.
Sometimes, even if you're nervous or afraid, you've just have to step forward. To forget such a simple fact, I can't forgive myself. I'm so ashamed.
You hear me?
Please, someone hit me. I can't forgive myself. Somebody hit me. Punish me.
Huh?
Jesus, if you have time to yell about it, you have time to do something about it.
However,
Perhaps. But what is this mission exactly?
Stupid.
Idiot, to look for a way out, duh.
What the?
And we totally need to find whoever was controlling that stupid bear and beat the hell out of him. But before we do all that, maybe we should take a look at the handbook. It's probably best just to check out the school regulations Monokuma mentioned before doing anything else.
Fine.
True, if we stumble around with no clue of what the rules are, something like that might happen again. Poop.
All right.
Fine,
So
let's hurry up
then-
and check out the stupid rules already. So it loads up, it says Makoto Naegi, the Hope's Peak Academy. And we now can see in the top right the logo for Hope's Peak seems to be the crazy eye slash of Monokuma and a pin or a paintbrush. And then there's wings on the side and a crown on top, and then something written, I think it says high school at the bottom. Checkerboard, black and white patterns. That does indicate that Monokuma, or that symbol, is part of Hope's Peak and has always been part of Hope's Peak, but who knows, the logo, the emblem could be made up too. After turning on my ebook, the first thing that appeared was my name, which, unless there's actual security beyond that, this is really bad security to just say this belongs to this person, therefore don't log in or read it. So just like Monokuma said, the owner's name showed up front and center. Then from the main menu that popped up, I selected the school regulations icon. So there is like no security on it. Let's see, an itemized list appeared on screen. It was the school regulations. And we want to pay quick attention to this because there might be some twist or important bit of information here. Although then you run into the problem of this being a visual novel, so whatever the writers write is what's going to happen, instead of, say, a more open-ended game where you might find a clue to solve the problems of escaping the school much faster than other people. And you don't want to get too ahead of a game like this because it's just going to drag its feet to tell you things that you probably already have realized. And sometimes that's done to make people feel smarter, but often it doesn't quite work that way. In other words, the rules being imposed on all of us. Students may reside only within the school. Leaving the campus is an unacceptable use of time. Okay, so you can't leave the campus. In Japan, I guess all the campus would be fenced off, so going past the gate, but I assume still would be considered leaving the campus, but getting perhaps outside the building may still be considered campus, or like on the roof. That would, I assume, still be considered campus. Nighttime is from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Some areas are off limits at night, so please exercise caution. So there's a trick you could certainly pull immediately there if you could convince somebody it's a different time than what they think. And certainly 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. is good for people who are normal, but the night owls are not going to be particularly happy about that. I imagine with 15 people, though, you would have some people that would just prefer to kind of be awake during the day and some people during the night, and just kind of spread people out. Like the least interaction you can possibly have with people. Very minimal interaction, not complete isolation or anything, but just minimal isolation will reduce the odds of fights. And that's all you can really hope for, is just to reduce conflict. And same is true for like romantic interaction. Like if one of the characters started dating another character, then that would probably lead to a lot of fights. Although generic fights are not really a problem. The problem is then it expanding to the point of somebody killing somebody be over something, which seems likely to happen. Let's see. Sleeping anywhere other than the dormitory will be seen as sleeping in class and punished accordingly, which apparently, according to Monokuma, is being killed. Like, I think all the punishments pretty much involve you getting blown up. So, yeah. And the idea of sleeping outside of the dormitory is like indicating that whenever they are not sleeping, Monokuma considers them in a class of some sort, learning something. I guess learning to live and get along. And I guess if you were in the halls of the dormitory, you might still be in the dormitory. So you might be able to sleep in the hall if that's necessary. With minimal restrictions, you're free to explore Hope's Peak Academy at your discretion. Violence against Headmaster Monokuma is strictly prohibited, as is destruction of surveillance cameras. It's kind of ridiculous to have the text pop up at the bottom here when it's just on the screen too. It's not like there's much of a difference in font size there. So either this needed to be voiced or they needed to just not bother to do that. And I guess in the Japanese version, this would probably still would be written in Japanese. Or maybe not. Maybe it's always written in English, and then in the Japanese version of this, it would be Japanese words explaining what it says in English. That's a possibility. Japanese students do learn English, though, so they're not terrible at reading English. How many rules are we going to get? Anyone who kills a fellow student and becomes blackened will graduate. Like, interesting, blackened is in quotes, but graduate is not. unless they are discovered. Okay. Blackened is a weird phrase to dislocalize. I think marked or damned might even be a better word to localize it to. Additional school regulations may be added as necessary, and I assume that Monokuma could just change the regulations digitally whenever he feels like it. Feeling a slight dizziness, I raised my face up from the screen. As I looked around, I saw the same stormy expression on everyone's faces.
Stop fucking around.
This is BS. What the hell kind of rules are these? I'm not gonna let them control me. Well then, why don't you wander around the school without a care in the world and see what happens? Personally, I'd love to see what happens when someone breaks one of the rules.
However,
But if he got punished like what we saw before, I don't think there'd be a respawn waiting for him. ...
Yo.
Ever since I was a kid, I grew up with my older brother pounding this into my head. When a man makes a promise, he has to keep it, even if it kills him.
And
So what?
What?
I've made a ton of promises that I still have to keep. That's so what?
Piece of shit.
So I can't afford to die in here. Interesting that they have him cuss, but they didn't even cuss in his dialogue then. I don't know if you'd actually bother to voice act a cussing line if you were doing that a little bit wiser. That seems like not an effective use of your voice acting budget. I suppose it is also worth mentioning that in Japanese there's really more about how you're saying things makes it more cursing and dirty than what you're saying. It's a very subtle language, Japanese is, so like the word idiot, baka, you can say that like almost friendly and toying in nature, and then you can also scream it in a very angry, mean way, and it has very different meaning as to how the exact same word is said. In English, it's almost the exact opposite. Saying the word is almost never implies any different meaning, regardless of how you pronounce it, with some slight exceptions. And English, I think, just has a much wider variety of dirty words, insult words, cursive words. None of that made much sense to me, but you are saying you will follow the regulations, is that it?
That's true.
Huh. Oh, well, yeah, I guess you're right. Hey, I have a question. For regulation number 6, what do you think it means exactly? They should have probably read out loud what the regulations were just to make sure they all had the same rules. It would be very tricky for Monokuma to give them each different rules, and thus each of them were working to their own goal. Although, that might make this game a little too complicated. Anyone who kills a fellow student and becomes blackened will graduate unless they are discovered. Well, how could you not be discovered with all the cameras and such? You're talking about the second half, right, where it says unless they are discovered. I was wondering about that myself. It's saying if you want to graduate, you have to kill someone without anyone finding out it was you. But why? Why do we have to do that? I don't see any reason to worry about it. Just worry about following the rules as they've been explained to us.
Such ignorance.
Frankly, I don't want to hear anything from someone who waits for others to decide what to do for them. Don't jab at me.
Give me a break.
More like a full-on stab. Well, for now, let's forget all that silly junk about murders or whatever. Now that we know the rules, let's start exploring the school. True, we need to find out exactly where we are. Is there any way out? What about food and supplies?
You understand?
There's tons of questions we need to answer.
Let's do
Damn straight. Okay, let's all start looking around. I'll be going alone. What to why? That's a pretty stupid idea, don't you think? Someone here might already have started thinking about murdering one of us. Are you saying we should stand around with them in our midst and make it much easier for them? Absolutely. Because this is just like standard horror movie fare. Never split up. Never go it alone. Like, you're gonna get picked off if you go it alone eventually.
Hold on a second.
Wait, hold on a second. That would never...
What?
Don't bother saying it couldn't happen. You can't deny the possibility. That's why you all seized up with fear when the graduation rule was made clear to you. Am I wrong? But... So I'm simply acting in accordance of what I think is best for me. Clearly, Byakuya is going to be an antagonist character in the pain in the butt. Byakuya, I believe, is also the name of an antagonist character in Bleach. I think, yeah.
Just hold on.
Or at least he was an antagonist character in, like, the first arc. Hold on, like hell, I'm gonna let you run off and do whatever you want.
What?
Out of my way, Plankton.
What?
What's that supposed to mean?
Such ignorance.
One tiny bit of plankton drifting across the sea. So minuscule, so insignificant. They couldn't possibly have any influence on the boundless ocean.
You're fucking dead.
I'm gonna kick your butt. Stop it, we shouldn't fight. The F you say? You some kind of goody-goody little B word?
Slow down.
What do you think you are, talking to me like that? You think you're my effing dad or something? No, I wasn't.
You son of a
F you.
bitch.
Wham. He punched me, and I flew back in a heap. It was like something straight out of a comic book. I didn't even see the punch coming, and I was just suddenly right there in my face. 1 second I was standing there, the next I was soaring through the air. Now that I think about it, maybe I'd kind of forgotten the kind of people I'd been trapped in here with. My common sense had just stopped functioning. Being around all these ultimates had blown my fuses. So obviously, assaulting another student is not against the rules if Monokuma wants you to murder them. So I guess I shouldn't have been surprised it led to something as absurd as this. But I just lost track of my sense of reality. That was my last thought as my consciousness started to fade, before it finally cut out completely. When I finally opened my eyes again, what I saw was... And see, frankly, this is, at this point, is... that was just a way to get out of that scene in a bad writing direction. Which is kind of fine, because getting out of that scene does help us move forward. We can see we now have like a background music option. Let's see. And the back button's still not really doing anything. There's a background music icon in the top right. Although, not really a way to control it from the looks of it. Like, let's see. We do now seem to have an auto mode with right bump, but we have no idea how fast that is, nor do we have a option to to speed up or slow down the text. We can now hit X to open the handbook menu. We can press Y for reaction mode. These are all going to be things that we'll have to learn in the next recording. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.